singing and making sound and feeling better in your body is a very universal reality. And many of us have forgotten that because we're just not doing it. We're not doing it enough. And there's all these messages that say it has to be done a certain way or you have to know how to do it. We all know how to make sound. We all know how to sing. I think my journey sharing and Sound Sanctuary is a place that creates a space and a community around that. So people come to this from all of their individual paths and their individual longing to get back to themselves and their musical self. Often maybe that's also their creative self that music opens them to. They like to write, they like to garden, it opens to that space that is a free space to explore intuitive joy and beauty, to see what starts to come through.
The Well Pro Show, brought to you by futurist thought leader Kate Stillman and the team at Wellness Pro Academy.
Hey everyone, it's Kate Stillman with the Well Pro Show, and I'm here with Kavita, Kat Macmillan, and she joined WPA. We had connected a few times over the years and met each other and spent a few days at the Teton Yoga Festival, and it was just amazing to see the music that Kavita brought to that gathering and to see her in the limelight and to see all these people gathered around wanting the Shakti, wanting the juiciness, wanting a piece of her experiential wisdom. And so then after we connected, we started to design her club, Sound Sanctuary, and singing. One of the things that I kind of clued into where our worlds intersect, our Venn diagram in terms of myself more as a wellness thought leader is with primal habits, and how is singing a primal habit. So I thought we could get into everything in terms of, Kavita, your background around your next wave of like where your career's gone and where it's going next as you're building Sound Sanctuary. And then maybe even dance a little bit around singing as a primal habit.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Good to see you.
Oh, so let's dive in with a bit about your background, those 30 plus years of experience and integrative healing practices, so very, very deep down the healer path. Do you want to just tell us how it began and how it intersects with voice and singing and music?
Sure. I grew up playing music and I grew up wanting to sing all the time. So this was my joy from the time that I was a very young child. And like a lot of people, I kind of lost my joy along the way. Maybe young adult, teen years, was searching and didn't really know how to get back to that part of myself. And in my early 20s, I discovered I was really wanting to sing more and sing out and sing with others. And I discovered that after a physical practice, my voice was more connected and it flowed more easily. So I had just begun yoga at that time, but I was living in Los Angeles and I started going to every dance class that I possibly could. And I got really involved with dance. And a few years later, moved to New York City. And the dance classes are a lot harder in New York City. So having started, in earnest as an adult, it was different in terms of keeping up with professional dance. And my yoga studio at that point in Lower Manhattan was going full on with lots of music and chanting. And so it became this perfect merge of what I already was looking for with my physical practice. And we were chanting at the beginning of class, we were chanting at the end of class. So I had this really tangible proof that not only was I becoming more centered in my body and in myself, my voice was opening through my healing and physical practice as well. So from there, I connected with amazing people who were teaching in the studio and coming through. I connected with Indian classical music, which at that point of my life just became this real refuge of sound meditation. And some aspects has continued as that, but also now is just really the formative place where I learned how to lift off the page of Western music training and just jump into the sound current, right? As a reality and as a place of joy. So, yeah.
I would imagine that, just I've done a bit of chanting in my past. I did actually go to the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram in
Yeah,
Chennai a bit for an intensive and really explored. They were so strict. It was intense. It was, I don't know, 12 hours of chanting a day, I think. And afterwards I was like, wow, I can do like asana opened after 2 weeks of chanting. We did very little asana. And I was like, whoa, what happens when you just work with the subtle body, right?
right.
I would imagine like the difference between Western and Eastern for you is that body as instrument in a very different way than we get as Westerners, as far as like the technology and the maps and the
Sure.
vibrations and the mantras. And yeah.
Definitely. Well, I would say, and especially from using your experience as an example, we come around to a place of mind, but we're not starting from a place of mind because the sounds aren't written, they're just repeated. So we start from a place of being in the body and simply repeating like we would as a child. And of course, all these things are happening in our mind. However, it's coming in through a different doorway. So we can kind of get out of our way a little bit, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
totally.
And whenever we're approaching something through the body, right, we're approaching it a different way. We're a little freer to be clumsy. We're a little freer to make mistakes. Um, yeah, to feel our way in.
It's like the method pushes you out of the way.
Nice. Yeah.
Like not even okay. So I don't want to totally get distracted with that because I could keep going there. And I love that because there was this real blend of, as we were figuring out sound sanctuary for your club is how do we bridge these brilliant, esoteric, subtle body traditions that are so essential right now with the people that really want to be grounded, awakened, confident, clear, vocal, articulate, and empowered. Right. And it's like that Venn diagram of where you fit into that need.
Mm-hmm.
Tell everyone a little bit about your discovery journey with this and where you're at right now.
Yeah, well, a lot of it has come from teaching and from being involved with other people who are interested in sound, and just because of my own passion and because of putting music out there and because of offering, different retreats and events, and kirtan being one of them, inviting all kinds of people in a room to sing together and then seeing what happens, and seeing what happens when those people start to get turned on to the effects of their own personal awakening that comes from singing. So not everybody's going to go to Chennai and do the whole Krishnamacharya training. Many people,
No, definitely
right?
not.
It's not, a universal path, but singing and making sound and feeling better in your body is a very universal reality. And many of us have forgotten that because we're just not doing it. We're not doing it enough. And there's all these messages that say it has to be done a certain way, or you have to know how to do it. We all know how to make sound. We all know how to sing. So, yeah, I think my journey sharing and Sound Sanctuary is a place that creates a space and a community around that. So people come to this from all of their individual paths and their individual longing to get back to themselves and their musical self. Often maybe that's also their, creative self, that music opens them to. They like to write, they like to garden, it opens to that space that is a free space to explore intuitive joy and beauty, and yeah, to see what starts to come through.
Mm. And so, in the transformation of just what you've noticed working with people in the various ways that you have in the past and in the mentoring, and then going forward into Sound Sanctuary, can you paint a bit of a journey of how people transform in the process of working
Yeah,
with you?
yeah, it's so beautiful. I would say it's different for everyone. What I
Mhm.
notice definitely across the board is a self-knowing and a self-confidence that comes in, and that shows itself in different ways in different people. Some people get up in front of people and start sharing what they're discovering. Some people just start to be able to settle into their own self and their life and create communities and projects around how they feel, they exist in community and in the world. You talk about a lot how in club with you, people find a place and they start to define themselves by that place, and then therefore have a way to define themselves in the larger reality.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what I see. I see these families form, made up of whoever's there and what they're seeking. And through that power of the witness, people find how their particular voice and way of expressing really matters
Yeah.
and where it fits. So all kinds of things. One woman's really deep, who I've been working with as a mentee. She's really deep in pagan spirituality and Celtic, and she's a member of a coven, and she's taking music and adapting it to those rituals and learning how to write songs. Other people are, wanting to lead song circles in their community or just with a couple of friends in their house. They're becoming more social. People are being able to articulate themselves in their relationships, in their life, just on a day-to-day basis, because there's less held, right? There's less blocked. There's more openness to connect heart and head. So intuitive life starts to unfold from there.
And it sounds like the sound sanctuary is providing this experiential and experimental playground.
Definitely.
People can try and express and receive both, right, from how the body's giving. Like I love that about the vibrational arts is like the body gives you something, right? And then we give each other something from how we're received and different ways of showing up. And it sounds like, from what I'm understanding, is that through experimenting with voice and body as instrument, that something's awakened, and it's in this safe space in the sound sanctuary where then they can practice, and then it naturally just flows out into everywhere else in their life. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Everybody has their trajectory. I think time is really an important aspect of it. Duration, coming back again and again.
Yeah.
Showing up even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
There, and it's fine. You can be there. You can be silent. You can have your screen off. We do things in person, but because people are all over, we do things online as well. And when we are online, invariably, people have life, people have things going on, and in those ups and downs, your humanity starts to be okay to yourself, right? And there starts to be an understanding of how to be human again with others and how to hold space. So that's another part that I really like to include, that, it's not, you don't have to sign on like I'm a yogi
Yeah.
sound sanctuary. There's people of all different backgrounds, and they come into sound practice because they want to be free in themselves. They want to feel better, and they want this container to play and to open up that piece of their own creative self.
In terms of the core competencies in your club and sound sanctuary, and how they're built out of the pain points that people have who don't have these competencies around, around the body as instrument, around singing. I'm just so curious, like where have you landed?
Yeah. Well, rhythm and ritual are really important. And this is where sound for me really crosses over into healing and wellness. And, I mentioned that I was doing yoga and training as a yoga teacher, and I got turned on to sound, and I was a better singer, and all of that was great. And then I encountered a teacher who married sound practice with Ayurvedic lifestyle, and things started to really open up in my life because I got my rhythms under control. I really actually started to go to bed earlier and started to understand about the first hours of the morning. And so that's a huge core competency that we work in through seasonal cleanses. And with the cleanses that we do each season, we include sound practice. So every day you're working with different subtle body chakra sounds, and all you're doing is listening, but you're listening while you're clearing your schedule, clearing your body, you're open. So the effects start to have their way. And we just finished our January reset, and it was the first time for a lot of people to ever do any kind of cleanse. And it was really exciting to witness what folks went through. So rhythm and ritual, big core competency. Even a little bit goes a really long way. And that's going to include ritual of practice time. That's meditation, that's sound practice, whatever people can fit, a couple minutes a day. It's going to make a huge difference. That. Another big core competency.
I do that. I do know that, but still, you know how it is where you're like, oh, I've let a little bit of that practice go and I've been doing a little bit more of that. So I love that.
Sure.
I love how you're taking sound and clearing the subtle body, you're just like clearing the mind, like clearing the channels with sound in a few minutes a day and bringing that into circadian rhythm. I've honestly never heard of another wellness pro and yoga health coaching or wellness pro academy connecting that so concretely, connecting the subtle so concretely that I just get lit up.
Well, yeah. I mean, your work holds that container so strong. And so folks who have been working with you to even introduce a couple of minutes of sound practice, if they're struggling with meditation, right? It gets you there so much faster.
So much faster. So much faster.
Direct path. Yeah. It's really hard to hold a long tone that you're singing and your laundry list of things that you have anxiety about at the same time. It's like, bah, yeah, it kind of drowns out the noise in a good way.
I love how it's this path that sound sanctuary is it's this path to joy. You said that in the beginning, and I just want to pull that part back in, that there's something we've been watching. We've been on a music documentary kick. I have a 17-year-old who just got a guitar. And so, yeah, I know it's been so good. And one of our favorites is It Might Get Loud with Jack White and The Edge. And yeah. And who's the third guy? Oh my gosh, Led Zeppelin guitarist.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking John Bonham's the drummer, but yeah, the guitarist.
The guitarist. We'll look it up. But there's just this way of dropping into the joy of creating. And Jack White, in it, they all go a bit into their teachers, and Jack White goes into just this obsession, like early on, with these, deep vocalists. And so does Bob Dylan. He does the same thing, right? Where it's like just going into these old tones, these old rhythms, these old, just this deep ritual that humans have with using their body to express their emotion. And it doesn't come out as words. Like, it doesn't come out in spoken word. It comes out as song, and there's a difference.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Song is a part of our humanity. I mean, it's ancient, right? It's a storytelling technique that's ancient, and that's easy to follow, and that's catchy, and that it, conveys emotion and takes you through the arc. And yeah.
And it really unlocks the subtle body. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is it unlocks the subtle body. It releases it's transmutation. It's that alchemy, that transmutation of a lower, denser emotion into a more grounded, effervescent emotion.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let me jump into our second core competency, because you're already touching on it, which is
go for it.
Authentic voice, and the way that we uncover this. So a lot of people have these ideas that they quote unquote can't sing, right? Because we're trying to sing with other people in other people's pitches, other people's styles and songs. And while that all is possible, right? Anything's possible. Where we begin and what it gives people an opportunity to experience in Sound Sanctuary is their own home pitch, right? So in Indian classical music, you call this saw. And this is also, connected to ah, right? First utterances of many animals. And when we sit in our own home pitch, it's the place of least effort and most relaxed release of sound. So we're not even singing there. We might just be sighing out sound on top of the exhale, but spending time in that place where it's not a word, it's not an idea, it's just an ah, creates a whole body experience of relaxing, bliss, home. So this is something that we weave in everything, right? Whether people are singing, chants, songs, wherever they're taking these practices, everybody can stay for like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes a day in their home pitch. You can put a drone on. There's lots of drones on the internet. There's cello drones, there's tambura drones, there's the drone of the stream. If you're camping, right, we can find these constant sounds all around us. And just like maybe some of you did when you were a child in the car in the back seat, like humming along with your head against the window or something. Same idea. You go to a place of soothing sound and you just allow your sound to merge with that in the simplest, most easy way. So authentic voice starts by finding where that pitch is for each person, right? Because everybody's going to have the tone that is the most comfortable for them. And this is where a lot of catharsis happens.
I was gonna say, like, people are finding their tone, like they're finding.
It's really simple, but a lot of people are overcome with emotion. People laugh, people cry. A lot of people have a real aha moment because it's not something that they've ever felt, and especially not associated with singing if they have any sort of normal anxiety that most people have around their singing voice, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't identifying.
It's such like comes back to the definition of health in Ayurveda, this svastha, that you're seated in the self. It's so much so that you're vibrating as the self. And how could it be other than that? How could sva be other than that?
Sure. Your own sound. And then you're vibrating in that as well, in your steady seat, in your center.
Okay, we better keep going. So that's number 2. And these are blowing me away. And I'm just, this to me is so why we do the whole structure of WPA, of Wellness Business Academy, is like the structure where your genius over 30 years of your life's work just gets to, in many ways, just be organized and structured in a way that's transferable and can grow and build. I mean, not just this as a structure, but as a transformational life experience that's scalable as a business for you and for the people that become competent in these competencies.
Yeah, I really appreciate the way that you hold structure for us is so incredible. And with the vision that we want people to experience this. And so if they don't understand how I'm presenting it, because, I am coming from like a lot of this, all these practices are really tapping into your right brain. And so if I'm coming to present what I'm presenting to people from this right brain place, it doesn't always make sense. So it's really helpful to have the structure and to have the support. And then I also know that, this is what I'm providing. I'm providing the same structure and support.
Totally.
We already talked about the third core competency, which is the cleansing, the seasonal three-body purification. So bringing the physical and the energetic bodies closer together so that the mental body can also come into balance. and we can start to actually make some choices and have some clarity in our life. And next core competency is sharing with community. So that comes in our community together, but also, as I mentioned before, people start to have the confidence and have like the little kernel of an idea that's been, dormant for so long, that they really want to present something in their life, in their community, in their workplace. I start to see those things happening because the confidence builds from the club and from our time together in Sound Sanctuary. So community, sharing yourself in community. Next one is creativity, which you talked about, creative labs, situations where we can get together and we can try out ideas and we can start to play with strengths and areas that we want to explore and have each other's support to go into those zones to try out ideas and inspirations and allow them to be incubated by the group until they're ready to be shown to a wider audience, which is also something that we do together with you.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Right. Like let's practice, let's create, and then it's that playground. Let's come back to community because this is so triggering for people singing together. Right. There's the singing alone in the shower. There's the closing my door and doing my own little chanting practice where nobody can hear me. And then there's this, and maybe for some, I would imagine this a bit of, it's like in yoga class, like the inaudible ohms, of like the newbies coming in and, just that, how do I be me with you? Right.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that you brought that up. The ohms in yoga class are such a great place to start. And after teaching yoga for many, many years, how many yoga classes began with, just a couple people making the sound of Om, and I'd open my eyes and look around and there'd be people with their mouths just like really tightly closed because there's a lot of fear, right? There's so much
and
fear.
shame. I mean, how many of us were told that we can't sing?
Exactly. Exactly. So there's something so therapeutic about having the other voices around you and just getting lost in that and allowing for that to vibrate and bathe you in good vibrations so that you can start to allow your own vibrations to expand into that. There's something really interesting that happens. Like, so some people are singing in the shower, singing alone in their room, and some people aren't. And so encouraging even that, encouraging like, this might not feel comfortable to do in front of anybody else, but how about if you go for it in the shower, in your car, start to feel what that feels like to open this center and to allow. And, a lot of the techniques that I bring in the authentic voice are about relaxed jaw, relaxed tongue, open throat, right? So this is a type of singing that really the only time that we're used to having that sort of an opening, we're sobbing, right? There's a lot of emotion there.
It
So
goes back to primal.
it's super primal, right? We're screaming or sobbing, but we can also be laughing like a huge guffaw laugh with your throat all open. And yet we don't make those sounds so often, even though they're absolutely essential for life and for allowing emotion and experience and everything else to move through our organism. So encouraging people even to sing alone. And then, a shift happens. If you're going to share, maybe you're going to share with one friend or two friends, something will happen in the body. There'll be sensation, there'll be nerves, there'll be, oh, I don't think I can do it, or all of those things are normal. The drone is really your best friend in that. So that's why we introduce the drone in the authentic voice practices. Because if you practice alone with your drone, that is, again, a steady sound that continues, right? It could be on your phone. It could be an instrument that you're strumming. Could be the river if you're outside with everybody. If you practice with that, then when you get in that situation that you're going to share, those nerves are going to come, but you're going to hear that drone and your body's going to remember when you were doing it by yourself in that space and it felt so good. And it's going to knock your nerves down a few notches. It's going to allow the body sensations to chill out a little bit. That's just a real thing. Some people will always have, responses in the body when they're sharing in front of other people. And we get used to observing it and accepting it and allowing it and it's okay. And it's probably going to happen. And how do you notice it and say, hey, how you doing? Nerves, I see you. There you are again. And I'm going to do this anyway because it feels so good. And I really want to do this. And in that, there's a vulnerability that comes through that other people appreciate, who also feel that way. I mean, it's a win-win. There's no way of turning back. Once you taste it, you realize, oh, this connection and this expression feels so much better than staying bottled up. Right? So
Right.
we hold
Like
space for that.
fasting. It's like this, it's like every positive stressor habit. What I love so much about singing, chanting, this group of sounding, right? This as a positive stressor habit is that it's cultural. It intersects, it's where biology and primal intersect culture and community. It's so, I mean, like, I'm not going to say it's uniquely human because I know other, like the whales, right? We have these birds, right? There's this level of how we do it as primates, right? That is maybe different than the other primates. That's exquisite.
Yeah.
And that it's primal. It's everyone's birthright. It's not, it's like urine therapy. It's always, to me, the joke with urine therapy. It's like everybody makes their own best medicine. Like, it's so not exclusive. And Peter Block, who's really my favorite thought leader on community, speaker, author, who's also been on the show, he talks about the shift from citizen to consumer, right? And when citizens gather to sing, big things happen, big shifts happen. It becomes a movement, it becomes a healing, it becomes, we don't even know, because it's consumer culture right now where we buy our songs and we pay our singers and they get rich and we don't get to experience our own best medicine.
Right. Well, and often the corporations get rich and the singers don't, historically.
Right. Historically, I love the releases from Prince on YouTube talking about this 30 years ago. I find those are just so poignant.
Right. Right. And like you said about urine therapy, here's this wonderful tool that we always have with us, on us, that's free and accessible. We just have to choose. Yeah. It's ours already. So
I love that idea too, that like we can be doing it silently. It's like once we cultivate it inside, we cultivate it outside. Like we can be doing it and there could be the most intense argument, and inside we can be doing this whole vibration that isn't emitting sound. Like it's really always there all the time.
yeah, yeah, going in the other room when you're in a heated situation and humming and calming down through low, long tones and extended breath. And yeah, it's interesting though, like you say, if it's commodified, people just kind of cancel it out as like, well, that's not my career and that's not something that I can be a superstar doing. So yeah, my Zoom does that. So I won't do it, even though that has nothing to do with being an artistic being, being a musical being, in whatever way your expression wants to come through. It doesn't have to be a commodity at all.
Well,
Yeah.
and and really sensing this joyful biology, right? That's for Science Sanctuary. It's like giving people back their joyful biology, that there's a structure, that there's a way to do it, and your core competencies are the path that get anyone who's not, all those things we talked about in the beginning, all those pain points, all those issues are just not feeling settled in the self, not feeling joyful, not feeling expressive, not feeling empowered by voice, like not able to ask for the raise, like not able to, like to really be in svastha.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
articulate as a species.
Yeah. More articulate, more connected. There's so much isolation. There's so much depression. There's so much inability to communicate.
Attention established wellness leaders. If you've built a thriving practice but hit the ceiling on growth, this is for you. It's Kate Stillman, and in this free training, I'm working specifically with wellness pros who have 5+ years of experience and are ready to scale. Whether you run a boutique studio, an integrative clinic, or have a dedicated healing practice, if you're serving a client load and know you could impact more lives with the right strategy, let's talk. You'll get a one-on-one with my assistant, and if your offer shows serious scaling potential, you'll also receive a free strategy session with me. Visit wellnesspro.academy and click on free training to design your next level offer and break through your growth ceiling. That's wellnesspro.academy, and just look for the free training button up in the upper right corner.
Yeah. I would love to hear. So in Wellness Pro Academy, you've met other people creating their clubs, and yours is unique and distinct from theirs. And I know you came in, as many wellness pros do, with an existing business model. It's not like, oh, I have nothing going on and now I'm using this business model. It's like, no, I have these things. I have contracts. I have clients in a different arrangement. And how does this fit in to my next evolution as a business model? And seeing other people doing that and being in this flex flow, bendy place of creating the next structure. Just talk a little bit about that process for you and where that's gone. Because I know for many people, they're like, but I have these things going on, so I don't know how I'd go from here to there.
Yeah. You mean as like how to take their wellness offerings and go from here to there. Yeah. What's been really amazing, and it's just really jumping up right now with this reset that we did in January. You're always repeating that all of this is so you can live your wellness lifestyle and share your gifts and share your skills. And ostensibly, that's what I've been doing and following my path of doing. However, without a structure to do that, I've been tiring myself out, because in between doing my things and promoting whatever workshop or retreat or course I'm offering, I'm fitting my practice in, and I'm practicing with my mentees and the people that I'm associating with. But this has made it more of actually, we're all practicing together. And if this is all just under one umbrella, I'm expending less energy trying to do all of these jumps in between things. And it feels like just the way that you present things through the Wellness Pro Academy has helped me to understand, I already knew the better I take care of myself, the more of service I can be to everyone I come in contact with. But that has given like a structure for that. And I've been able to communicate that more clearly, and just all the time, the way that I can live this practice of sound and stillness and sharing and creativity, and offer that with things included, like my own seasonal cleansing rhythm is a part of everybody's, right? These are, like I said before, a lot of people who've never done that kind of thing. And, for me, meeting a teacher who brought that into sound practice was life-changing. So now meeting you and saying like, oh yeah, actually that's all a part of this too. It's giving me the room to grow in, really. And I think it's invaluable. I'm enjoying witnessing that I'm more available for my people because of it. So yeah, more time
I'm
for
hearing so much integration, like both like integration in your wellness and in your career, but also integration in all that you have learned, like your embodied wisdom is like all of that is getting integrated, so you're more powerful.
Yeah, I hope for that more and more, just taking on more information and all the time distilling and simplifying and distilling and simplifying. I mean, you talk about 80-20, right? Keep the 20, lose the 80, keep doing it. And so that's like a real meditation right now, is meditating on this is enough. I don't have to push. I don't have to extend outside unnecessarily. And also, how do I distill and take this forward so that it becomes even more potent and there's room for the new to come in?
Yay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so excited to see where it goes. Yeah. And I'm so excited for your members. I mean, really, I really can't think of anyone I know that wouldn't need this, including myself. Like it's just, I, and I feel like we should co-write a chapter of something on singing as a primal habit. Because the more we talk, it's like, oh yeah, this is it's such an endangered species.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
would
know
love
what my daughter's singing voice sounds like, right? That's
that.
how I know it's an endangered species.
Wow. And she's enjoying singing, huh?
She's enjoying playing guitar. She's learning guitar. She wanted a guitar, so my husband got her a guitar for Christmas, and she's using some app, which I think eventually she might just need to just play and just get it. So I'm curious. I want to encourage her with voice.
100%. Well, guitar is a great songwriting instrument, so she'll have what's needed, you know. It's it's funny because why is that? I want to hear like primally, we know we can sing. We know it feels good. We know it was done. So, I mean, you touched on the commodity. I think that's a big part of it. I touched on the emotions, you know, it's also another big part of it. If you sing a lot and out loud, or what are you going to let out that you're trying to keep in? Um, and yet, as we are, you know, witnessing, at least as I'm witnessing, it's having a comeback. There's a lot of people who only were experiencing music in certain situations that they're not a part of anymore. You know, maybe you were brought up in a certain church and you don't go to that church anymore. Maybe you go to a different church, or maybe you don't go to church at all. And somehow music is only in that room and you miss it, but you feel like you can't touch it anymore, you know? And it's like none of that's true. The music is still alive. It's just how do we allow ourselves back into that relationship? Song circles are getting more and more popular. I'm based in Oregon right now, and there's this real sort of grassroots song circle movement happening with young people where they're getting together. They're singing really simple call and response verse songs and just experiencing how that feels. You know, anybody can be in that circle singing. So we all get in a room together and we're the same, and we are not having to talk about the things that we don't share. We're sharing that moment. We're all feeling better. We're all smiling at the end of it. Right. So it bridges gaps. And historically, we've seen that happen. You know, I've been involved in some really cool festivals where there's been world music, and you'll see people from different parts of countries all over the globe that maybe would have never met if they weren't at that festival. And by the end of the festival, they're doing a jam together. And music is this universal language that kind of can, you know, cut across all kinds of divisions. So, and the singing is just, it heals. It really, it really, it really does, just in its biological reality of what goes on, right?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, in Primal Habits and writing on Inflamed and Primal Habits, the research, because I had hum in there. I didn't have sing, but if I were to be writing it now, I'd have I'd have both. Um, so the research on humming on the best research was out of India, and it was on nitric oxide levels with humming. I'm not sure if you've read it.
Sure, yeah.
It was the conclusion they reached was four, and I love this because it's so practical, and maybe we can just end with a few practical tips for people who are like, okay, I'm on it. I gotta, I'm in the car, I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna turn me on.
Yeah.
Right? Was that in 4 breaths, nitric oxide production went up like something like 80% in the sinus microbiome, right? Which that is how you kill viruses, including COVID 1 and 2,
Right.
right? Among every other, right? It's like you nuke it in the sinuses, and so it doesn't go into the lungs. Of course, if you're a mouth breather, then your sinuses are shut down, like all the more reason for chanting and singing and releasing the nitric oxide, which works like, I mean, it's one nitrogen, one oxygen molecule with a free electron. So it works like electricity, and it breaks things open at the level of quantum physics. It like just uses raw energy. They don't really even understand how it tunnels or where it goes, but it just massive dilation.
Yeah. Takes care of your brain, right? That's the
Your
name of
brain, your blood, like it's anti-inflammatory everywhere.
amazing. Yeah. The hum, I think in Uninflamed, the hum was even just alone, alone without a drone. That's a great place to start. I think a nice, low, easy hum. You don't have to force it. When we
Ooh, wait. I want to ask a question. So
Mm.
this kind of goes back into the Tibetan chanting, and like, why is lower better? And why does the voice naturally go lower with more awareness of using the hum to open the channels of the body?
Well, I don't think I can speak exactly to why lower is better, except for experientially, we are relaxing and we're opening, and our vocal cords are vibrating like at a lower frequency. So there's just less effort. My teachers always were stressing less effort, less face that you're making as you're trying to sing, less muscular. My teacher talks about less muscular coupling, right?
Yeah.
Just releasing sound. That was a really scratchy but as it
Yeah.
comes out, whatever comes out, sound riding on the breath. So if I was to make a high pitched hum, either, I'm using more energy to get there, right? I'm having to make that happen. Whereas sighing sound out on an exhale in the lowest pitch that you can be is very closer to effortlessness, right? It's there's a element of ease. And when we go for that, everything opens and let's go, right? And we want to be in a released, relaxed state for these therapeutics to have their effect. Having said that, I think in Uninflamed, you also talk about the B sound, which is another.
Yeah, but wait, hold up on that, because I just want to associate that with tantra and back body and
Oh,
dissolving
nice.
from the individual front body, the articulation, the tip of the tongue, into the back body, the root of the tongue, where you're the whole, you're the universal. The universal moves through you and it expresses out through individual. And if you're starting with individual, it's all ego, and it's all disconnect between the mind and the bliss body. It's a massive koshic obstruction.
100%. Yeah, that's really important. So, and then to further what you're saying, if the universe is, singing, humming through you, the ego, the mind, the way that I think I should sound, all of that gets out of the way, right?
Yeah.
With this, if we start humming and we start letting go of the efforting with singing, often the authentic voice that emerges is really different than what people thought they sounded like. And
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. Everybody's voice is so beautiful because it's so uniquely theirs. And it's uniquely theirs from this universal place coming through from the force of life that created that organism, instead of an ego personality creation of what my voice is going to sound like, right? Less of this and more just deep body, soul tones coming through.
It reminds me of this, one of my favorite productions, I think, of NPR was Lost and Found Sounds. They did it
Mm,
with way along. It was on like a tape cassette.
uh-huh.
So I think
I
a
remember.
movie they produced in the 80s or 90s. And you heard these voices and you really got that sense of deep, because this was probably before a lot of commercialization in music. So people's voices were more developed, and you hear these sounds, and it's like the fingerprint, right? Like we each have a voice, we each have a fingerprint, and that when people die, right, it's like we miss that sound, like the sound, you still hear the sound of your mother's voice, right? Like that is the vibratory self. And what I love about, I just want to bring this back to Sound Sanctuary, is this refinement and discovery. It's like building your own house again, right? That's truly yours to live in. And then because of that, there's this hospitality that other people can find you. They can locate, oh, that's where you are. And that's what you stand for. And it's just all happening in the vibratory essence.
Yeah, nice. It's a journey. It's a
Mm.
journey of yeah, peeling back layers and letting your truth sort of shine, right? Shine through, and then witnessing that people are noticing your shine, your authentic shine, right? After the other things get out of the way, after we get out of our own way.
Yeah. Wow. Anything you want to add in closing? First of all, how do people find Sound Sanctuary?
KavitaCatMacmillan.com is the best place to start. So you can link to it through there. And right now the platform is opening in February, March. So there'll be another link, but everything will go through the website to there. So it's a real easy entry. And yeah, people can get in touch. I'd love to hear where folks are coming from and what they are interested in exploring and what gets them excited or brings their heartbeat to a faster rhythm when they think about music or sound or singing or any of these things, just getting to a place where they can let go in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining some people listening thinking so and so, like this just sounds like a good idea for so and so. And so I invite you to fall through on that connection. And what we really know about clubs is it's all about the citizen, the community, the connections. It's and it's that like, oh, whoever kind of pops in, like send them over to KavitaCatMacmillan.com, and so that they can connect, because this is such a sacred, I mean, the Sound Sanctuary, it's like these clubs are they're so sacred in the sense of what happens within them. And it just seems like people find out, and it's all word of mouth. It's all like a wing and a prayer in certain ways. I mean, we do a lot with marketing and structures and that to make it much more likely and have a really proven process for people coming into clubs that helps both parties. But yeah, it's these really unique, unusual, like can't buy it on Amazon kind of experience. Mm.
For real. Yeah, that's where it's at, coming together with others and doing what we love and exploring ourselves while we're alive and enjoying life, capturing all the light and all the sound in each day to really enjoy this embodiment. Yeah.
Actually, I do have one last question because my mom keeps popping into my head. So what about for people who are really hard of hearing? How does
Yeah.
sound work for them?
Well, you can still hear vibration. I mean, feel vibration. There's very, very skilled non-hearing drummers, believe it or not.
Well,
And
was it Beethoven? Like who is deaf?
yeah, Beethoven went deaf at the end of life. Yeah. Yeah. So they'd have a different experience than me, maybe, and you, but there's still an experience there. And, there's still a path. And if they're called, why not? Right?
Right? I would
Yeah.
just think the vibration would be so healing. I mean, and the actual clearing in the head from the vibration through the ear
Uh-huh.
canals.
Well, and the hearing might even improve from it,
Yeah,
from
that's
middle
what I'm
ear
thinking.
vibrations and
Because it does with humming, so obviously.
yeah, yeah.
All right, I will try to link my hum
Send your mom
chapter.
over.
I'm gonna send him. I'm gonna send her over.
Yeah.
I'm gonna connect the hum chapter with this so that if people want the research on nitric oxide, et cetera, and if you have anything that you want to send in terms of links or in terms of research or things that you find fascinating, we'll put it all in the show notes episode, because I'm sure for a lot of people that this is just gonna start to connect some dots.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, we'll do.
Yay. Good to be with you, Kavita.
Yeah, always great to be with you, Kate. Thanks for everything.